Where should you invest your money in 2018? That's the question we're asking all week on Inside AB, and today we are debating active versus managed investments. I'm Jeremy Lawrence, and I'm joined here by Bernd Debusmann to debate this subject. Bernd, you spoke to Ted Stevenson, Executive Director of CFA Society Emirates, about whether non-professional traders can actually make a go of it in the market. What did he have to tell you?
Well, he pointed out that the stock market had a stellar 2017. The S&P 500 benchmark was they returned over 21% in the year. The MCI Emerging Markets index was over 37% in the year. So the stock market did really well, but that isn't necessarily to say that the average non-professional investor, even though they can, because now there's things like eToro and Fidelity that would allow you to trade stocks on a day-to-day basis very actively. That's not necessarily a good idea unless you know what you're doing. And he said there's even been studies that have shown that kind of an active approach doesn't necessarily have a better outcome than a kind of a more passive approach.
Now, Bernd, I've read this interview that you did with him. He was a little bit more scathing. You were very polite in the way you put that.
Yeah, well, I mean, in a nutshell, he said, if you don't know what you're doing, it's probably not something you should do.
I think he said it was a really bad idea, didn't he?
Yeah.
And speaking of people who think that it's a bad idea trying to do it yourself as a non-professional, Warren Buffett, the ultimate professional in this game, he's got very, very strong views on this topic.
He does. Every year he writes kind of a letter in which he outlines his ideas. And in 2014, he very memorably said that, for a non-professional investor, it's not about picking a winner because not everyone is Warren Buffett, obviously. You can't, it'd be very difficult for an amateur investor, I guess you could call them, to pick a winner. So essentially, he advocated for the non-professional kind of more of a broad brush approach in which, you look at a set of businesses and investments and hope that the aggregate turns out well. Because, if, like I said, picking winners is very difficult. People, this is their job and it's still difficult. So it's probably not the best idea.
Another Warren Buffett quote, by the way, he said it's not timing the market, it's time in the market.
That's right, yeah. So it's about experience, and if you don't have it, it might not, your investment might not go anywhere.
Yeah. Okay, so with that in mind, what should the average non-professional do?
Well, what Mr. Stevenson said that he really recommends an exchange-traded fund, which is essentially, it's rather than investing in a certain stock, you're investing in kind of a range of stocks. It could be a basket of different assets, different companies. There's even brick ETFs that, for example, you're trading essentially on how Russia, India, and China are doing, which is kind of a much more broad approach, but it's also probably much more manageable for the day-to-day person.
Okay. So you've got Warren Buffett telling you not to, you've got Ted Stevenson telling you not to. Let's talk about some more benefits of ETFs here.
Yeah, well, one thing is that although it's traded day to day and the price fluctuates day to day as would a stock, for the individual investor, it's probably better because it's more flexible, for one. It allows you to diversify without having to pick lots of different stocks all at once. So you're kind of, like I said, you're managing kind of a basket of investments rather than a particular investment, a particular stock. Also, this is big for the individual investor. The fees are probably lower than, for example, a managed mutual fund, which is big. If you're an institution or a professional, you have more money to deal with. But as an individual, you're probably looking for a lower fee. And the dividends are reinvested immediately, which kind of takes out some of the work for the individual. Essentially what he said is, for the non-professional, this is probably a safer bet than picking winners like Warren Buffett said.
Okay. Well, that's the advice of the professionals this year. Of course it would be though. But take that how you will. You've been watching Inside AB today. Tomorrow we are talking about Forex. So do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Join us tomorrow at 10 a.m. We'll see you there.